Nityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtike durlabha manusho deho dehinam shanabhangure tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priya darshanah. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripātamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. So we are reading Bhagavatam, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 3, entitled The Marriage of Sukanya and Cyavana Muni. So in the first few verses, we were reading that one of the descendants of King Vivasvat Manu was King Saryati, who was the son of Vivasvat Manu. And Saryati instructed the descendants of Angira on the functions of Yajna. He had a beautiful daughter named Sukanya. So one time, Sukanya was around the ashram of Cyavana Muni, who is the son of Brigu. So there were some glowing objects in an ant hill, and she pierced that. But it was Cyavana Muni meditating inside. You may have seen even Hiranyakashipu, when he was meditating, that his body was covered with ant hill. Same with Valmiki. Valmiki was meditating. The Valmiki literal meaning is that the one whose body is covered with ant hill. So Saryati got his daughter to marry Cyavana because of the offense she did unknowingly. And Sukanya pleased. So we read 9th or we have to read 9th verse?
Full deadline from 10 today.
Okay, so we read 9 about King Sharyati. Sharyati, yeah. Thank you. So we read the 9th one. I'll read the 10th one. Just a quick recap. Oh, I'm sorry, this one is. So King Sharyati, being very contemplative and thus understanding Cyavana Muni's purpose, gave his daughter in charity to the sage. Thus, released from the danger, with great difficulty, he took permission from Cyavana Muni and returned home. Okay. Sukanya Chavanyam prapya patim paramakopanam prinayam asa chittagya apramattanuvartabhi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Cyavana Muni was very irritable, but since Sukanya had gotten him as her husband, she dealt with him carefully, according to his mood. Knowing his mind, she performed service to him without being bewildered. Just 1 second. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Purport. This is an indication of the relationship between husband and wife. A great personality like Cyavana Muni has the temperament of always wanting to be in a superior position. Such a person cannot submit to anyone. Therefore, Cyavana Muni had an irritable temperament. His wife Sukanya could understand his attitude, and under the circumstances, she treated him accordingly. If any wife wants to be happy with her husband, she must try to understand her husband's temperament and please him. This is a victory for a woman. Even in the dealings of Lord Krishna with his different queens, it has been seen that although the queens were the daughters of great kings, they placed themselves before Lord Krishna as his maidservants. However great a woman may be, she must place herself before her husband in this way. That is to say, she must be ready to carry out her husband's order and please him in all circumstances. Then her life will be successful. When the wife becomes as irritable as the husband, their life at home is sure to be disturbed or ultimately completely broken. In the modern day, the wife is never submissive, and therefore home life is broken even by the slight incidents. Either the wife or the husband may take advantage of the divorce laws. According to the Vedic law, however, there is no such thing as divorce laws, and a woman must be trained to be submissive to the will of her husband. Westerners contend that this is a slave mentality for the wife, but factually it is not. It is a tactic by which a woman can conquer the heart of her husband, however irritable or cruel he may be. In this case, we clearly see that although Cyavana Muni was not young, but indeed old enough to be Sukanya's grandfather, and was very irritable, Sukanya, the beautiful young daughter of a king, submitted herself to her old husband and tried to please him in all respects. Thus, she was a faithful, chaste wife. Hare Krishna. So, very, very important verse and very, very practical in Grihastha ashram. So here we see Cyavana Muni was old and was irritable. Maybe often got angry or things like that. So in short, he was not the best husband. In short, a young wife would want, right? Because every young wife or young lady would want a young, beautiful husband, like not an old, irritable person. But somehow, this lady got, we know the story in the past, because of the offense, mistake she had done. She got Cyavana Muni as her husband. Are you able to hear me? Or is it not so good? Is it audible?
Yes, Prabhuji. In between there was little disturbance, but now it's okay.
Yeah. Let me know if there is still continuous disturbance. Okay. So Prabhupada is making a point here, very nice point, that amongst the man and the woman, of course, both have to be submissive, but the male ego is that the male ego wants to be the boss. That's there. The false ego is there. That's how the God is designed. And so, but if the woman is submissive, then she can conquer the husband. Husband will feel I'm the conqueror, like, but the wife can conquer the husband by being submissive and serving in the right mood. Prabhupada is giving the example that even the queens of Krishna would serve Krishna as a maid servant, basically being submissive. So it's a very important instruction. But the husband also, of course, we are talking about, now we talk about spiritual, like, or devotional couple. No one should mistreat his or her husband or his or her wife because they are Vaishnavas. It's not just a husband or a wife, they are they are devotees of Krishna. That's how we should treat. So, whether husband or wife, Trinadapi Sunichinal, this is seen that if both are irritable, if both are angry at the same time, then Prabhupada is mentioning that how divorces are so common. People take advantage of divorce laws, and some Western people may think, "Oh, what is this slave mentality?" It is not slave mentality. It is how the the nature is. Okay, there are certain things, and the physio-psychological order is different for male and female. It's not about the superior or inferior. It's about understanding and appreciating the difference and dealing accordingly. Even in the Grihastha Vision team, they recommend a few books to understand these, like there's a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. They recommend actually reading that book. So it helps to understand the differences and appreciate. In the Niti Shastras also there is a verse which says that even if the husband is old, angry, or even if impotent, the wife should not, wife should handle accordingly. Or poor, yeah, 4 things: poor, old, angry, and not able to get children due to any reason. It's not that the wife will leave the husband. Oh, my husband doesn't have money now, bye. Right? We see that in Kali Yuga, so common. Or the husband, same applies to the husband for the wife also, because nowadays pretty much everything is same. Both have to understand and the dynamics and deal with them accordingly. Now there are a lot of rules. You may say that, well, this is talking about wife has to do this, wife has to. Well, every husband wants the wife to do this way, but like every husband wants the wife to be like Sita, and every wife wants to have husband like Ram. The point is that we should be like that example. The husband should be trying to be like Lord Ram or follow in the footstep, and the wife should try to follow in the footstep of Sita. If the other spouse gets there or not, that's their free will. But by being a right example, at least we will inspire the right behavior. His Grace Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu was mentioning about this recently. I was hearing a class that yes, how so many couples, sometimes wife is a devotee, husband is not. Sometimes husband is a devotee, wife is not. But by showing the right example, by being sincere, they can inspire the other person. So very, very important words, understanding the dynamics, understanding the nature, understanding the differences between male and female ego. Very, very important for healthy, stable Grihastha ashram. Any other comments, questions around this? Okay, let's read the next one, text 11. Yes, someone who didn't read yesterday, anyone who was left out or someone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, please.
Kasya chita tuastha kalasya nasatyava shrama gatai tai pujyitva prabhucha bayo me daktamishwaramu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Prabhupada. Thereafter, some time having passed, the Ashwini Kumar brothers, the heavenly physicians, happened to come to Cyavana Muni's ashram. After offering them respectful obeisances, Cyavana Muni requested them to give him youthful life, for they were able to do so. Purport. The heavenly physicians, like Ashwini Kumars, could give youthful life even to one who was advanced in age. Indeed, great yogis with their mystic powers can even bring a dead body back to life if the structure of the body is in order. We have already discussed this in connection with Bali Maharaj soldiers and their treatment by Sukracharya. Modern medicine science has not yet discovered how to bring a dead body back to life or bring youthful energy to an old body. But from these verses, we can understand that such treatment is possible if one is able to take knowledge from the Vedic information. The Ashwini Kumaras were expert in Ayurveda, as was Dhanvantari. In every department of material science, there is a perfection to be achieved, and to achieve it, one must consult the Vedic literature. The highest perfection is to become a devotee of the Lord. To attain this perfection, one must consult Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is understood to be the ripe fruit of the Vedic desire tree. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam. Hare Krishna Prabhu, back to
Any reflections, Mataji? Thank you for reading.
you. I just understood a little bit about how Ashwini Kumars and Dhanvantari, they are by the grace of the Lord, can give the youthful life to anyone who are trying and worshiping them, and also some mystic yogis can also bring back the life in the dead people, and it is all the power of the Vedic literatures and the Vedic aspect of our dharma, which is even higher, and which is not even understandable in some of the material science aspect, bringing back life in the dead people. That's not something possible for the material science or the material world, but definitely it is possible in the Vedic science, and there are examples that we have been seeing in and reading and listening in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That's all I understood.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Just imagine if in today's day and age, someone had the power or capacity to convert the body of a 70-year-old to a 20-year-old or 30-year-old, right? Prabhu, we have any doctor who can do that? What will be his salary? A lot, right? How many people would follow him on Facebook or YouTube? A lot, right? He'll have millions of people for his customers. Everyone wants that, right? The whole cosmetic industry is what? To look younger, isn't it? A 30-year-old wants to look like a 20-year, a 40-year-old wants to look like a 30-year, a 50-year-old wants to look like a 40-year, whatever. That's what the whole cosmetic industry is. It may just look like, right? But the internal system would not change. But Ashwini Kumaras, who are have the strength, same as Dhanvantari. We read about Dhanvantari in the Samudra Manthan Leela, who brought the pot. Remember the golden pot of nectar, which everyone wanted to drink? So in Ayurveda, Ayu means life or age actually. So the science of life, or the science of to strengthen the Ayurveda is very common these days. And one of the branches of Ayurveda, yoga, means to connection, but Hatha yoga or exercise is yoga, pranayama, mudras. A lot of people are taking it. It's very, very scientific. It's very, very scientific, very, very powerful. But so we see that in Shukracharya, we have seen that in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Muni, right? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Muni was also an old person, saw the fishes in the water, and then wanted to get married to the queen, the daughters of Mandata. He also regained back to youth. So this has happened multiple times. Narada Muni is also great, the best amongst the yogis. He's a bhakti yogi, he's the topmost transcendentalist. He also brought the son of Chitraketu, Harshashoka, back to life. So there are multiple examples. But we don't have to run after this. Imagine if someone had that kind of power today. He would be the best. Like everyone would follow that person, right? Everyone would pay millions of dollars, right? Would there be a lot of people who would want to pay a lot of money to get their 70-year-old body to a 25-year-old body? Millions of people would want to do that in the materialistic world.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Who doesn't want to?
I think your voice is breaking for me, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji's connection is lost.
Yeah.
Shudip, you want to continue?
Prabhuji just joined, Prabhuji.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you, Prabhuji.
Sorry, the network is not great here. So yeah, the point we're discussing that we don't have to run after these accomplishments or powers, because ultimately, even after one gets old body to a new body or a young body, still after some time, the body will die, right? The body will jatasya dhruva mrityu dhruva janma mritasya cha. So a great person is not looking after these temporary things or going to heaven, etc. They also have a very youthful body, but they are again back to square after some time. So let's see what happened when he got a youthful body by Ashwini Kumaras. This Lakshay Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 12. Graham grahisi somasya yagnavam api asomako kriyatam meli bayo rupam samadhanam yad ipsitam. Translation. Śrīmad Muni said, although you are ineligible to drink soma-rasa in sacrifices, I promise to give you a full pot of it. Kindly arrange beauty and youth for it because they are attracted to young men. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Lakshay Prabhu. So I don't know the story behind this, that why these physicians don't get the share of the nectar, soma-rasa. They're ineligible to. There must be past some connection, which I don't know at this point. I can check. So, but no, he wants to give a return gift, right? They had the power. They're like the topmost physicians of the demigods, Ashwini Kumaras, and they want to. If they bring back youth, he'll give them a pot full of nectar. So, reciprocal relationship. Guhyam dadati pratigrinati. So let's see the next one, next 13. Yes, Sudhir Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. The Krishna devotees and the Pranam all goes to Sri Prabhupada. Badam iti ukte vipram abhinantya bisa katamau imajatam bhavan asmin Vede Siddha Vinirmati. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great physicians, the Ashwini Kumaras, were very gladly accepted Cyavana Muni's proposal. Thus they told Brahmana, just dive into the lake of successful life. One who bathes in this lake has his desires fulfilled. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji, so as you described, so the Ashwini Kumaras actually very glad and accepted Cyavana Muni's proposal and requested Cyavana Muni to dip into a lake called a successful lake where his desires will get fulfilled. Back to you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So I'm just looking for the Sanskrit word for the lake there. Vede Siddha Vinirmate. So we have discussed like such lakes. It may sound very like a fairy tale to us, but we have to understand that these are not fairy tales. This is history. These are real incidents. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam mentions a lot about. Can anyone tell anywhere else where such kind of lake is mentioned? Anywhere else you have heard, read, where they were restored back to life, or they're youthful, or something like that?
We have read in Bhagavatam where he was brought back to life by Ashwini Kumaras and Dadichi Muni. Also similar, I mean not exactly same Prabhuji, but over there also Ashwini Kumaras brought back to life.
Yeah. Very nice. You remember how this Vishnu and this Mayadana were fighting? Sorry, Lord Shiva, and he had a special lake, and anyone they would go and dip again, and then they would come back to life. You remember that story we discussed? And then Lord Vishnu and Brahma had to come, and then they drank all that nectar. Remember that?
Yes.
So we discussed there. You remember Karda Muni and Devahuti? So Devahuti was very old, and then she entered Bindu Sarovar. And then, so Devahuti was not old technically, but because of continuously serving her husband, who was busy doing tapasya, she didn't care for her own self. She was also the daughter of Swayambhu Manu. So here, kind of linked to the first verse we read, text number 10, that she was also granddaughter of Manu actually, Vyavasvat Manu. Son was Sharyati, and then his daughter. So basically very royal family, right? Swayambhu Manu, the great Kshatriya king. And here Vyavasvat Manu, the great Kshatriya king. But their granddaughter became like a maid servant too. So even Krishna's queen was like a maid servant. So the word maid servant may sound little people may not like to hear that, or may not like to be called as, but in spiritual life, that's all we want to be, right? In spiritual life. And there is a lot of result actually. Today morning only I was hearing a class at work. Someone asked Amoglila Prabhu, I have heard that if the wife serves the husband nicely, like a maid servant, she gets 50% of the credit, whatever the husband does. Is that true? Yes, that's 100% true. So therefore you should chant 32 rounds. So she'll get 16, you'll get 16 now. Because if you chant only 16, she'll take the 8, so you get only 8 rounds. And what about if she chants 32? Will I get 16? No, she'll get the 32. So that's the benefit. I mean, the point is that wife naturally gets the result of spiritual life. And what if she makes a mistake? Or what if she does something sinful? Then 50% will go to the husband. So very, very tricky laws are there. Now, can we change it? No, these are the laws of mankind. Whether we accept it or don't accept it, the laws will work. So better we accept it. Ignorance of law is not an excuse. And better we be careful. So both are responsible positions, whether we are a husband or a wife. We have to do our best. So the point again, back to this lake. So it may sound a little, fancy to us, but same with, we have to understand through the eyes of scriptures. Like in the upper planet, there is lake. When you enter the lake gets when the demigods would enter, the damsels would enter the lake would get fragrant by their amazing the body's scent. So we may not be able to understand it in Kali Yuga, but you have to understand that these are real, not fictional Harry Potter stuff. Okay, let's read next verse, text 14. Yes, Ipul Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Original devotees, Dhamma Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, text 14. Iti ukto jaraya grasto deho dahamani santa radam ridam praveshito shiobhyam boli polito vigraha. Translation purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Joy. Translation. After saying this, the Ashwini Kumaras caught hold of Cyavana Muni, who was an old, diseased invalid with loose skin, white hair, and veins visible all over his body. And all three of them entered the lake. Purport. Cyavana Muni was so old that he could not enter the lake alone. Thus, the Ashwini Kumaras caught hold of his body, and three of them entered the lake. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
This is amazing. This just, the scriptures are so vivid. Like it tells, like as if we are present there. It gives a very clear picture of Cyavana Muni's situation. And it also helps us understand the glories of Sukanya. Like serving an old person, and that too who cannot even walk by himself properly, right? He's needing two people to help him enter the lake. The veins are visible, the hairs are all white. So very, the skin is all wrinkled. So he's not only old, but diseased and invalid also. But Sukanya didn't complain. Sukanya didn't throw tantrums. Sukanya didn't say, hey, my foolish father, why the hell you got married me to this person? She accepted. And we read that she was very, very chaste and served her husband to the best of her abilities. So they entered in this lake. So let's see what happened further. Text 15. Ashwati Mataji, want to read?
Dhanyavad Pranam Prabhuji, all praise to Srila Prabhupada. Text 15. Purushashtraya uttastur apibhya vanita priyaha padmasrajaha kundalinas tulya rupaha shubhashashaha. Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Thereafter, 3 men with very beautiful bodily features emerged from the lake. They were nicely dressed and decorated with earrings and garlands of lotuses. All of them were of the same standard of beauty. So here in the translation, Prabhupada is explaining that with the Ashwini Kumaras, Cyavana Muni also got his youth back. So that's why the 3 of them looked similar, like with beautiful bodily features, with garlands of lotuses. So back to you, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, the lake of success. That's what Prabhupada has translated. We discussed over here the lake of successful life. But the real lake of success is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, right? We discussed also that. Because by dipping in, first of all, in this Bhutala, we don't know of any such lake where anyone can go. If anyone knows, then, that person, that lake, all the water would be gone because everyone would be there only, right? So there's, at least in the Bhutala, but somewhere this lake exists, where in the upper planetary systems, perhaps. So the point is that they could, Cyavana Muni entered, and they were nice and beautiful. Again, nice clothes, nice garments, nice garlands, earrings, everything. So young and beautiful. Now a question may come: why did Cyavana Muni, he was so old, wrinkled, invalid, diseased? Why? What about his marriage? Like, why? Can someone answer that? He was so old and wanted to get married.
Maybe he wants to, do justice to Sukanya, because she was serving with a lot of attention.
She was serving before marriage. The question is why he got married. I'm not talking about why he got young.
Oh, okay. Why he got married? Okay.
Probably the desire. That will bring back person. No matter, because the age doesn't matter when you have that desire, and that is I could understand from here actually.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyone else?
Maybe he had a desire to do some yagnas, or I think for the doing yagnas, generally it is also said that husband and wife must be there in some Veda structure. I'm not just thinking loud.
It is mentioned in the previous verse, which you all read yesterday or day before, I believe. So the connection is that, Sukanya made a mistake. While Sukanya was collecting flowers in the forest, she saw 2 glowing objects within an anthill. As if induced by the providence, she ignorantly pierced them with the thorn, and blood began to ooze out of them. Because of this, the soldiers of Shariati were obstructed from passing urine and stool. Interesting. Surprised, Sharyati spoke to this associate. It appears that someone amongst us did something wrong and polluted Cyavana Muni's ashram. So frightened, Sukanya told Sharyati what she had done. So basically, Sukanya, Sharyati, and the soldiers were having kind of some time in the picnic time in this forest, and Sharyati became very afraid and tried to appease Cyavana Muni, who was sitting within the anthill. Now, Cyavana Muni asked, "Is your daughter married?" So Sharyati, being the son of Manu, understood that, and that's not the question a old person would ask, right? So he understood his intention. Basically, if she is not married, then I can marry her. And the king had to give her hand in marriage. So very important point that the desires don't go by age. The desires to enjoy material life don't go by age. We have some lot of doctors who are geriatrician, Jan Mrityu Jara Vyadi Jara, geriatrics. So this branch deals with old age. They're mentioning that a lot of people come and they say, "Oh, please give us some medicine or something so we can enjoy our senses," like a 20-year-old, like a 30-year-old. So we can, give us some pills or something. So the desires don't go. There are a lot of stories also in this regard. So the point is, yes. So he had that desire, and we also see that he was. Again, we are not there to comment. We are there to learn that even though he was old, but irritable. The words used are irritable. So, okay, even if someone is old, like in a Vaishnava family, even if person is old, it's fine. But being irritable is a matter of choice, correct? Being irritable is not a matter of a person who is trying to follow the pure Vaishnava's principles should not be irritable. Uh, so, because we see in Bhagavad Gita, right? For someone who is not agitated by others and who does not agitate others is very dear to Krishna. Yasyam, I forgot the verse, 12:15 of Bhagavad Gita. Yasyam now doing like the one who is not agitated by others or irritated by others. If others do some provoking situation, that person is not bewildered. And how about that person bewildering or irritating others? No, that person does not do that. That's Bhagavad Gita 12:15. Very nice verse. So one who is not agitated by others or irritated by others, and one who does not irritate others. That person is very dear to the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Let's see that verse actually. And we can read it since we're talking about. Yeah, please tell.
यस्मान्नोद्विजते लोको लोकान्नोद्विजते च या हर्षमर्षाभये द्वेटे मुक्तया स च मे प्रिया.
Very nice. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to you. So it's certainly appropriate to use the word irritated or putting into difficulty, right? The Cyavana Muni is irritable, putting the wife in difficulty, but the wife was not agitated. She continued serving. That's great. That's excellent. So back to I hope that helps. So back to this. Let's see what happened when they Cyavana Muni. And the word, I'm not sure if there is connection between the word Chavanprash coming from Cyavana Muni. You have heard the word Chavanprash. I heard somewhere in the lecture that it's come from Cyavana Muni. So the idea is that if someone eats Chyavanprash, one will be back to youth like Chyavan Muni. I don't think if it has happened with anyone by eating Chyavanprash, one has become a 90-year-old has become like a 19-year-old. So good luck if someone has figured that Chyavanprash out. Okay, Ishan, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Tan Tanirikshavara Shapur Sharupan Surya Varchasha Ajanati Patim Shadvi Ashwinau Sharanam Yayo. The chaste and very beautiful Sukanya could not distinguish her husband from the two Ashwini Kumaras, for they were equally beautiful. Not understanding who her real husband was, she took shelter of the Ashwini Kumaras. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, back to you.
You can read that purport as well.
Okay, Prabhuji. Sukanya could have selected any one of them as her husband, for one could not distinguish among them. But because she was chaste, she took shelter of the Ashwini Kumaras so that they could inform her who her actual husband was. A chaste woman will never accept any man other than her husband, even if there be someone equally as handsome and qualified. Hare Krishna, back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's a very nice lesson here that a chaste woman will not accept any other husband, even though the other person may be rich, maybe more qualified, maybe more good looking, maybe more spiritual, maybe more wealthy, maybe has a bigger house, maybe has a bigger car, maybe has a bigger goal or degrees or job or whatever. But a chaste woman will never. Same is for a good husband. A good husband will always matrivat paradareshu. Paradara means to see like a mother or all other ladies except for one's wife. So one does not think, oh, this wife is or this lady is more wealthy, more beautiful, more this, more that. So be it. It's like mother. Same is for husband for wife and wife for husband. Both the principles apply. This is what we have to follow the footsteps of Lord Ram and Mata Sita. Mata Sita did not give up the shelter of Lord Ram, even though she was in the golden city of Lanka. Very important lesson. Ravana tried to give Ravana tried to allure Mata Sita by giving lot of allurements. And these days we see there's a nice, like husband and wife marriage is like a contract. The first thing which people see in the marriage, maybe the husband will see how beautiful the girl is and the girl will see how much the husband earns. Both are temporary things. The beauty will fade away and the money will also fade away. So if the platform of marriage is based on temporary things, what will happen to the marriage? It will be also temporary. Or it won't last for, well, even any marriage is temporary because we have discussed that. But even it will be even more temporary because the wealth and beauty and strength and degrees, all these things will fade away. Knowledge will fade away. So in short, it should be based on qualities. It should be based on character. It should be based on values. Nowadays, values are last and everything else is secondary. So there's a very nice prayer from Mukundamala Stotra, which we can read. The desert of material existence has exhausted me, but today I will cast aside all my troubles by diving into the lake of Lord Hari and drinking freely the abundant waters of his splendor. The lotuses in that lake are his hands and feet, the fishes are his brilliant shining eyes, the lake's water relieves all fatigue and is agitated by the waves of his arms create. Its current flows deep beyond fathoming. So in short, rather than trying to jump into the lake of success or youth mentioned here, one should try to jump in the lake of Lord Hari's pastimes. That's the real lake, which will give us exhaustion, which will give us relief from the exhaustion and the fatigue of Janam Mrityu Jara Vyadi. It will give real shelter, real hope, real relief, not just temporary. Well, if one becomes young in this lifetime, after what? Some time back, some time later, again, old age will kick in. Again, Janam Mrityu Jara Vyadi will kick in. So, intelligent person is looking for the lake of Lord Hari. Let's read one more verse and then we'll pause. Yes, who wants to read? Yes, Munna Mataji, you want to read? Swati Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sure.
Yes, please.
Darshayitva patim tasyai pratyena tositau rasim amantraya yayatur pimanina trividstapam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Ashwini Kumaras were very pleased to see Sukanya's chastities and faithfulness. Thus, they showed her Cyavana Muni, her husband, and after taking permission from him, they returned to the heavenly planets in their plane. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, quite straightforward. We discussed this important lesson in the previous verse that it's not that Ashwini Kumaras just imagine their strength. They had the power to bring anyone into youth. So they must be certainly very, very beautiful, right? So it's a very tempting situation. And the husband is nowhere to be seen, right? God knows he is dead or living. So, but she did not say, okay, my husband is not there and you two are very beautiful. Let me just go with you. She asked, where is my old husband? Can you please help me locate my old husband? So they were very happy to see the chastity and the faithfulness of Sukanya. That's the test of a great person is tested in provoking situations. When allurements are there, it was very alluring situation. It was very tough situation, but Sukanya did not give up her chastity. Chastity is the real strength of a woman. Chastity is the real dharma of a woman, actually. By just being a chaste wife, and the husband is a devotee. That's the ideal combination. Husband is a devotee of Lord. Then eventually both will go back home, back to Godhead. So, yeah. So then they showed Cyavana Muni, this is your husband, and they continued back to upper planets, their home. Probably they got what Cyavana Muni also told them. What was that? Anyone remembers? Cyavana Muni told, I'll give you something. What was that thing?
Soma-rasa.
Soma-rasa, yes. So probably he gave, it's not mentioned here, but looks like he gave. Okay, so it's almost time, so we'll pause here. Anyone has any other comments, additions, questions? Okay, so we'll pause here. Canto Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purani ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktam ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.